Yuli Edelstein, thanks very much for being with us here.
My pleasure.
A key moment in the Israeli political map. So this is no longer a theoretical question. We know the Attorney General intends to indict Netanyahu. My question is not what happens after a hearing, but do you think it is appropriate for a prime minister to act as prime minister to represent the country at home and abroad while embroiled in such a legal defense?
Well, there are two aspects to the answer to your question. First of all, in terms of his functioning, and I can tell you as the Speaker of the House, obviously, because of this job, I have an opportunity to see him functioning from a very close range, and he's really doing okay in terms of security meetings, international relations,
but it's just
and everything.
Begun.
He's been in that business for the last couple of years with all the accusations and all the charges, and now we have the official published document of suspicions. But this is the second part of the answer: suspicions. And just presume for a second that after the hearing and the trial, it turns out he's absolutely clean. How would we all feel if we right now tell him, just go because you're accused? You know, the presumption should be the right one.
But before that, I mean, we saw on Thursday, we all read the accusations or the suspicion, as you call them. Do you think that the Prime Minister, for the time being, got a fair treatment from the Attorney General?
Yeah, I totally rely on Attorney General. I do have to say, as an elected official and as the Speaker of the Knesset, that the timing of the issuing of this list of suspicions is problematic. One can't pretend and say it doesn't influence the electoral campaign in any way. It does. But on the other hand, I think that the Attorney General is doing his job. He's an experienced lawyer, and my message to all the Israeli voters is, let's leave the legal aspect to the lawyers. Let's concentrate in this campaign on real issues that are of interest to all our citizens.
So on that note, I mean, you have a reputation as a stately politician. You've called on Israeli politicians to set an example. So when you hear Netanyahu consistently undermining the Justice Department, the Chief of Police, the Attorney General himself, state prosecutors, people that he himself appointed, what kind of example does that set?
Well, first of all, I said I trust the system. I think that everyone is doing his or her job. My problem is that I really don't want to be in his shoes, and that's once again brings me to the same point, to the same issue. If he feels totally not guilty, and if he kind of feels that it's really a campaign to bring him down, a political campaign.
Do you agree that it is?
You know what? He is the only one who really knows what happened. I have this document published by the Attorney General. Wow, I look at it. It's really grave. And then 5 minutes later, I hear no less experienced lawyer who represents Netanyahu, a well-known lawyer here in this country, who says everything, every sentence will be proven fake, not real, not true. So once again, let's leave it to the lawyers. We have to concentrate on the campaign. We have to judge Netanyahu by what he's been doing in the last 4 years and what he's planning to do in the next several years.
Permit me to go one step forward. Let's imagine, or maybe big possibility, 9th of April, good result for the Likud party. Let's imagine, I mean, you form the next government and you continue to be the Speaker of the Knesset, and Prime Minister Netanyahu asks you to promote or to help him to promote a law that will shield him from trial. What do you do?
No personal legislation is possible in the Knesset as long as I'm Speaker. There was at some point a discussion of the so-called French law, but we are not there anymore. French law speaks of kind of, in my very free and not juridical language, of not bothering the sitting prime minister with investigations. We are not at this stage. The investigation is over. As we said, the official accusations or suspicions have been published, and now it's for Netanyahu's lawyers to prove them wrong. So we shall not become
French on April. We shall stay Israeli.
Yeah, we'd better stay Israelis in all the senses.
So, Mr. Edelstein, you were talking about how there needs to be a focus back on the issues, back to the party itself. Are you concerned, though, that this entire situation, that the Prime Minister facing an indictment, could harm the Likud party itself? Even today, a new poll out of Israel's Kan TV shows 14% of right-wing voters say their decision has changed because of these probes. What about the Likud party?
I honestly said that I can't even pretend that this kind of a document doesn't influence the electoral campaign. That's exactly my problem, was the timing.
But the party itself, is the Likud a party of just Netanyahu, or is it on its own?
Likud is not just the party of Netanyahu. Likud has, I think, the best, and I'm not objective though, but the best and most experienced team as far as the first 20, 30 members on the list are concerned. You can easily close your eyes for a second and imagine any of them as this or that minister in the government, or this or that chair in the committee. That's not the situation we have in our competing parties with our rivals. And I think that that's exactly what we should start presenting as of tomorrow. We had a conversation this morning with the Prime Minister, and the obvious conclusion is that tomorrow is going to change. Once again, we'll leave the legal aspects to the lawyers. We'll concentrate on the campaign about our achievements and about what we stand for and what we are going to present.
So far, the Likud party has been running a campaign that's quite defamatory, quite controversial.
There has been no campaign yet. The campaign starts tomorrow.
The campaign videos we've seen so far, not part of the Likud?
There were videos, there were tweets, there were all kinds of things, but the official campaign of the Likud starts tomorrow.
We speak of campaign. Prime Minister had two speeches, I think, in which he called the voters to vote Likud. But in those elections, the blocs are very important. You'll have on one side the conservative or right-wing bloc, on the other side the liberal or left-wing bloc. Do you imagine a situation where Likud wins those elections without the support of the Israel Beitenu, of Kachlon, of right-wing parties that will not be in the Knesset? Is there such a possibility?
Well, first of all, your question is absolutely in place, because for those of our viewers who less understand the Israeli system, Likud is not going to, with all my optimism, is not going to get absolute majority in the parliament, in the Knesset. So we'll need coalition partners. Most probably, the same coalition partners we've been sitting with in the last 4 years. That's why we need their support. Some of them are in danger of not passing the threshold, which is about 4 seats in the 120 seat strong Knesset. And we sincerely hope that they will be successful. But during the election campaign, Likud works for Likud, and all the others work for themselves. You can't share seats. The last point would be, and I'm sorry to correct you, but I still will. I don't see the other side as liberals. I think I'm a liberal. The wrong attribution of the term liberal to those who are basing their future coalition on anti-Zionist parties that are...
You call it progressist?
I don't know what to call it, but I know that Zionist parties are not supposed to say loud and clear that they're going to form a bloc with parties that even don't recognize the state of Israel.
Mr. Edelstein, but Netanyahu himself has created a pact, if we're talking about parties that maybe should not be in a coalition, with Jewish power descending from a party that was banned in Israeli parliament in the 80s, that's designated as a terror group in the United States. How did that happen under this Likud's watch?
Absolutely, absolutely. I just want to, once again, to say loud and clear, where they're an attempt to bring these I even don't know what to call them into the Likud, I would be the first one to say no way. But
they could be in a government. They could be in a Netanyahu-led government.
Let's put it this way: according to the polls today, the best that could happen to them, that they would have one representative in the 60+ something coalition, who is number 4 on the list of this joint mixture of several national religious parties. And we are talking about someone who already was a member of Knesset 6 years ago, and see the skies didn't fall. So I think that we have to make a clear distinction between people whose views I don't share, and I could even be more blunt about their views, and I did speak in the past about their views.
They were in the Knesset and the Supreme Court permitted it in 2009, I think. Absolutely. But another question, if you permit me, you said about the meeting of Likud members of Knesset with the Prime Minister. I looked at the guest, a very important meeting, but someone was missing. I think his name was Gideon Sa'ar, important personality in the Likud party. Why wasn't he there?
Well, first of all, not all the faction was at the meeting. I sincerely hope that the Prime Minister will speak to all the, whatever he chooses, first 30 or first 40 on the list. And my friend Gideon Sa'ar is a prominent Likud member. He made it very well in the Likud primary elections, came in number 4, and I sincerely hope that he will be part of the team.
All right, we have to wrap there, unfortunately.
You were the primaries number 1, I think, in the primaries. Does this mean that you are the candidate to be the next Prime Minister of Israel someday?
First of all, I wish Benjamin Netanyahu many more years as Prime Minister. When there will be a competition for the next position of the Prime Minister, there will be tough competition. The last primaries weren't be relevant.